my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my best recipe for Angelina Hot Chocolate. If you're not familiar with Angelina Hot Chocolate, I would say get on a plane and go to Paris. It's that good, but many of us can't travel right now, and that is the whole purpose of this video. I have been really missing travel, and more specifically really missing Paris. Before the pandemic, I would travel back to Paris once a year for the sole purpose of learning a new skill, a new pastry skill. So some years I would go to learn macarons, how to make macarons from a French pastry chef. I have been there to learn how to make brioche, croissants, Danish, just every French pastry you can imagine. Once a year I make it an excuse to go back to Paris and learn a new skill. But there's one recipe that I'm missing more than any other, and it's actually not a recipe that I've learned in Paris, but one that I have certainly had my fair share of, and that is the hot chocolate at Angelina Paris. Now, this hot chocolate is world famous for a reason. It is the most delicious, decadent, velvety, rich hot chocolate. It's like drinking chocolate, and when you see the recipe, you'll see why. That you could ever have. I have tried hundreds of recipes, not even joking, at least 800 recipes to land on this recipe. I make very small variations. This is as close as I can get to the Angelina experience. If you ask me, it's pretty well on par. But if you want to recreate this at home, this is a really great way to kind of transport yourself away. I would also recommend go on to Netflix and watch Emily in Paris. I'm obsessed. I'm really excited for the second season, but there's so many small things you can do when you're really missing travel to stay at home, and that has been a big part of my year the last year. After a decade of living out of a suitcase to transition into a life back at home, I'm loving some things about being at home, but I really miss that sense of discovery and diving into the culture, the history, meeting new people, speaking the language, art museums, patisseries, Angelina Hot Chocolate. I miss it all so much. So I hope you enjoy this video series of recreating my favorite recipes from around the world. Today we are doing Angelina Hot Chocolate. Here is what you'll need. First of all, you will need around 220 grams of chocolate. Go figure. Now I'm going to add my cream, which is half a cup. Next up, you want 1.5 cups of milk. I'm gonna pop that in this separate jug and you will soon see why. And then in this jug, I'm also gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a teaspoon of brown sugar. So a few notes, if you do not have scales at home, I like to measure everything with scales, mostly where possible, unless it's liquids and you can get it very accurate. If you don't have scales at home, 220 grams of chocolate is about 1 1/3 cups, if you would like to use cups instead. Next to note is I've put the cream in the saucepan ready to go on the stove, and then I've got the chocolate separate ready to go in there. And the other piece of equipment I've got is the jug so that I can easily pour in the wet ingredients when they're required, but they're ready to go in a pourable jug. Because I was feeling smart today, I wouldn't normally always do that. So, yay for me. As I get this started over a low heat and start stirring that with a heat-proof spatula, I'm also going to mention a note on the chocolate. So all of the ingredients are really important, and this is one thing that people don't realize about cooking at home. In order to get the same restaurant quality of taste, often the most important thing to consider is actually ingredients. So the chocolate that I'm using, just gonna give this a little stir as I heat it up a little bit. I'm just gonna heat up the cream first and foremost, just a little bit on a low heat, get it nice and warm before I add the chocolate and make a ganache. And we're gonna make the ganache before adding the milk. And then we're going to heat the entire thing right through so that everything combines and creates this really delicious hot chocolate. So for the note on chocolate, the importance of this is that the higher quality chocolate, the better tasting. I would recommend using 70% minimum dark chocolate. And I like to get these, I'll leave a link below to the chocolate that I use. It's imported from, I think from France actually, not from Belgium, this one. And it's really high quality, and so that makes all the difference. I'm just gonna go ahead now and add the chocolate and make this nice ganache over low heat. So you can see there, it is getting hot quite quickly, so don't forget to keep stirring so that you do not burn the chocolate. But keeping this over a low heat, you want to create a nice, thick and rich chocolate ganache before moving forward to the next step. While we're talking about ingredients, I also use a really high quality cream. So there's a really great dairy that I like to use here in Tasmania, and they have a higher fat content for both their milks and their creams. So it's a little bit more expensive, but anything with dairy like butter, cream, milk, if you can invest in a higher quality ingredient, you're definitely going to taste the difference in the end product. So if you have the option when you're at the supermarket to go for something a little bit more expensive and better quality, it is totally worth it. Just taking this off the heat to show you, this is now a nice, thick and rich ganache, and we can go ahead and slowly add in the milk. You guys should see what I have my camera sitting on right now. I'll be surprised if it doesn't topple over and fall at some point. So now I'm just keeping stirring this while we've added the milk and turning up the heat a little bit, because you want to get it to the point where it's simmering and making sure that all the chocolate solids have evaporated and like the milk has kind of sucked them up and it's all become one nice rich consistency. So don't forget to keep stirring through this point, because otherwise you will burn your chocolate, and there's probably nothing more sad than burning a pot of expensive French chocolate, in my opinion. So you can see here how rich this chocolate looks. It is completely combined, so I've had it simmering on the stove, kept stirring it so that it doesn't burn, and now it's this deep, rich chocolate color. There you have it. I can't even tell you how much I'm looking forward to this. I'm gonna sit this right here. Another thing you can do if you want the typical Angelina experience is to top this with some whipped cream. In Angelina, they will serve it with some whipped cream on the side, and then it's up to you whether you would like to sweeten your hot chocolate or not. But as you can see from the consistency here, this stuff is rich. So if you want to add some cream, it will make it a bit sweeter rather than so rich. This is like literally drinking chocolate. This is exactly the same as the hot chocolate you get at Angelina Paris. I don't think anything beats being in Angelina Paris in the tea room. First and foremost, if you can go to Paris and visit Angelina, that is what I would be doing. But if you're stuck at home and looking to recreate some of your favorite travel memories like me, this is definitely one of the best. This recipe is the closest to the Angelina style. If you want to water it down a little bit, you literally just add more milk, keep all the other ingredients the same, and then just add like another half a cup or 1 cup or 1.5 cups. Try adding a little bit each time. And then you'll get a thinner consistency in the hot chocolate and also less rich. It's so good. It's so good. It is so good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did. And this is a new series of recreating some of my favorite recipes from around the world. So please feel free to get involved. If there's a recipe, something that you loved around the world that you would like me to recreate at home, I'm all for it. I have literally all the time in the world. I am really finding this Adventures in the Kitchen series is taking me back to places that I miss so much and giving me that kind of nostalgia that I need while not being able to travel and spending all this time at home. I really miss so many different things other than just being in a place. If you have a recipe from somewhere in the world that you're really missing, please let me know in the comments. I would love to try and recreate it at home. I will see you guys in the next video. In the meantime, please give this video a like, share it with someone who is also probably missing Paris. I just had an idea actually. Maybe I should do a reaction series to the Emily in Paris season 2. I'm obsessed with the show. In case you haven't already figured it out, I'm obsessed with Paris and France and all things French. If you have any ideas for new videos, just let me know below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I can't wait to see you very soon in the next video. Enjoy making your hot chocolate. If you do, tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your creations. Otherwise, see you soon.